In this session, I am going to discuss about the multi-threading in Python. What is meant by a thread? A thread, it is the subpart of the process, and it is the lightweight, and it uses the fewer resources of the process. And the main concept of the threading is it can execute multitasks at the time. For that concept, we use the multi-threading concept. To use the multi-threading concept in the Python, we have to use the threading module. In the threading module, we have the thread class. We have to extend the thread class to use the thread properties in our Python program. And the different states of the thread are: there are actually 5 states of the thread. The first one is the process created, and next one is the running, blocked, terminated. These are all the different states of the thread. To start a thread in Python, we have a predefined method called the start. And to run the particular thread in the thread class, we have the predefined class, the run method. This is the run method, and this is the start method. And the thread enters the terminated state when it completes the run method. And the thread has different attributes called the current thread, active count, and set name, get name. And the current thread, this particular method returns the currently executing thread name. And active count, it returns how many threads at that particular moment the process is running. And set name and get name. Set name is to set a particular name to the given thread, and the get name means we are retrieving the name of the thread. And this is the main important one. In the threading module, we have to extend the thread class in the Python program. And this thread class, it is the predefined class in the Python. It exists in the threading module, and we have to create the objects for this one. And this is the simple example for the thread in the multi-threading concept in the Python. These two lines, we have to use these two lines to create the new thread. The first one is thread1 equal to my thread. It is the user defined class, and this is the what we are sending some messages to that particular thread. And my thread, it is the user defined class. This is the one, and we have to use the import threading because we are extending the threading class. This is the we are extending the thread class. Means my thread is extending the predefined class called the thread. And to start a new thread, we have to use the start method. This is the one start method. At the invocation after this statement, see this one, at the time of creating the thread1 object, the constructor of the my thread has invoked. This is the constructor of the my thread. In this one, we are passing 3 parameters. First parameter is 1, second parameter is thread1, and the third parameter is 1. In this one, what is the first one? It is the thread ID. We are giving some ID to this particular thread. And second one is the name of this particular thread, and the counter of that one. In this one, the first statement is we are invoking the parent class constructor, and the second statement is we are allocating the thread ID. This is the parameter. We are allocating the particular parameter to the thread ID, and the name and counter. After this creation of these two objects, thread1 and thread2, the compiler comes to this one, thread1 dot start. At this particular moment, the controller jumps to this run method. In this one, I am printing self dot thread ID. Thread ID. What is the thread ID here? The one and the two. And the most important point in the multi-threading execution is the output need not be the same for every run. The output may varies. This is the main concept of the multi-threading. And at the this is the start of the thread. Whenever this particular statement invokes, the compiler automatically executes the run method. And this is another program for the multi-threading. In this program, I have used one predefined method in the run method. See, this is the first one. And this is the main concept here. I am creating two objects called thread1 and thread2 for the mythread class. Where is the mythread class here? Mythread class, it is extending the thread predefined class thread. It is existing in the threading module, so I am importing this threading module here. At the time of this at the time of executing this particular statement, the constructor of the mythread class it invokes. In this one, the first statement is invoking the constructor of the parent class called the thread, and I'm passing some variables here, parameters here, three parameters. The first one is the thread ID, second one is the thread name, and the next one is the counter. And after that one, I am invoking this much. I'm starting these threads, thread one dot start and thread two start dot start. By executing this statement, the controller jumps to this run method. Thread one dot start means it invokes the run method. In this one, I'm executing print time. This is the user defined method. In this one, I am passing some parameters. Here, the first one is thread name. What is the thread name here? Self name equal to name. I am passing this as the parameter thread name, and the counter and the delay. How much delay it has to wait. In this one, I have used one while counter. If exist flag, I am initialized the exist flag equal to 0 at the starting of the program. And after this one, if exit flag thread name dot exit, otherwise time dot sleep. For this particular one, time dot sleep, this sleep method, it is existing in the time module. For that one, I have used the import time of delay, how much time it has to sleep. I am mentioning this one also. I am mentioning this one and two. Counter, self dot counter, and I am passing it as the delay variable. After that one, it is printing thread name time dot c dot time, the time here, and I am decrementing the counter. And this is the one directly with invoking the thread without creating the user defined class. Here, this is the main program execution. Here, I am invoking the thread directly, invoking the thread without extending the thread class. Threading dot thread of target equal to print square. This is the method what we have used. Print square. This is this one, print square. We can directly use like this also. In the target one, we have to send the method name and arguments equal to 10. This is the arguments. I am passing only one argument in this particular program. This number equal to 10. And in this print square method, I am doing num into num means 10 into 10, 100. It prints the value 100. And in T2, the T2 object is created like this. I am creating directly. It the method at the time of invoking this particular statement is print cube. This is the first one. It is the print cube. In this one, I am cubing the number, and the arguments is value 10. This 10 it is passed to the num variable. Here I am performing num into num three times. I am printing that one, and this is the one starting methods and join methods. Join method means it has to wait while the other thread has to terminate. The output of this program is like this: square equal to 100, cube equal to 100, done. Inside this one, I have used like the square, cube. I'm printing the string cube, and after that, printing that particular processing value. This is regarding the multi-threading concepts in the Python. Next one is the file handling concept in Python. And the main important usage of the file is the file is used to store the contents. We have already some content there. We have the variables, arrays, all those lists, directories, tuples, sets are there to store the content. But the importance of the file is it stores the content permanently, while the variable or the list, dictionary, the lifetime of that particular content is the execution of that program only. After completing the execution, the variables, it doesn't retain. We have to store the data permanently. For that purpose, we are using the concept called the files. And the file, it is the sequence of characters, and the main, it is the secondary storage system, and it stores the data permanently. When we are creating the file, it is storing in the disk. The first one is we have, when we want to do some operations on the files, the first one is the we have to open the file, and the different operations we have to perform on the file are the reading, writing operations. To perform the read or write operation on the file, we have to open the file. This is the open function. This is the predefined function in the Python. Before performing the reading or writing operations, first we have to open the file. This is the different parameters in the file. The first one is the file name parameter, and the second one is the access mode, in which mode we are doing these operations on that particular file, and the buffering concept. The file name, it is the name of the file. Access mode, there are three types of access modes. For reading mode, for reading we have to use the access mode called the R. For writing we have to use the W as mode, and appending. And the buffering value, it is the, if we set the value as 0, no buffering will take place. If it is 1, it is performed buffering. And this is the different modes of the file. R for opening, reading the file, R plus reading plus writing, W writing, W plus reading plus writing, and the next one is appending, A plus appending and reading. These are the different modes in to perform the operations in the file. And next one is the reading from the file. Here I have given the syntax for it. We have to give the full syntax where the file is existing. This is the one. I am storing the particular file name is test1.txt. Generally we save the files as the .txt files. It exists in the C folder, and Usha is the main folder. In that one, Python is the subfolder in that one. The file test1.exist is existed in this Python folder. And I am opening this test1.txt in the R mode. R is nothing but the reading mode. If we use the R, if the file doesn't exist, an error occurred. If we use the W, if the file exists, the contents of the file are overwritten. If we use the A, then if the file already exists, the file itself retains. The new content, it is appended to the already existing file. If there is no particular file, the Python creates that particular file in this particular folder. And reading the and read, this is the predefined method. See, this is the predefined method. Read and write are the predefined methods in Python to perform the reading and writing operations. READ, this is the predefined method in Python to perform the read operations. In this one, we are specifying some count. Means here the second line, this one test.txt, I am opening it in the R mode, reading mode, and I am reading using the read method. Read of 5 means the first 5 bytes it reads, and 4 means after 5 next 4 bytes. And the next one is the read line method. Read is different from that of the read line. Read it reads some specified count, and read line it reads the whole line, complete line. And generally we use the for loops. This is the syntax for that one. For line in any file. Any file is the name here, name of the file. We are getting line by line in this one, and we are printing that one. Generally we use the for loop to iterate the whole file. And next one is the write method. The write method, it is used to write the content in the file. This is the syntax for that one. File object, file name dot write of string. This is the example for this one. I am opening first to perform the read or write operations on a file. First we have to open that file. After performing the operations, we have to close that file. This is the syntax for that one. Close. This is the right syntax. I am writing here in the file name called the fovo.txt. Python is the great language, and fovo.txt I am opening it in the W mode, nothing but the writing mode. This is the content. Python is a great language. I am writing in the foo.txt is the Python is a great language. And there are some other methods called the seek and the tell methods. The tell method, it retrieves the present current position of the file pointer, and the seek method is it puts the file pointer at that particular position. And this is the syntax of renaming the file. In renaming the file, this is the old file name and this is the new file name. I am renaming it as the test1 to the test2. This is the end of the multi-threading and the file concepts in Python.